even when it's been dry, to be completely honest, we sort of think, oh, geez, hang on, you really assess, is this really something we want to do? And we both just realised it absolutely is, because we love being here. We couldn't imagine being anywhere else. So it makes us feel more comfortable sticking it out.
A certain strength. If I'm having a day where I'm just feeling like shit, it's just not sort of great, and I go out and find a tree or a nice area where it's just got trees, and there's just a certain strength quiet. Just being there and just drawing strength on the country, like just there's something about it it's quite spiritual, I suppose.
Hello and welcome to Propagate, a podcast all about the ups and the downs of young farmers and fishers. Today it's time to fill up the four-wheel drive, give up on the GPS and head out to Waka Station. It's a bit of a drive and it's a little bit out of the way. Actually, it's a long way out of the way. When George Miller was trying to figure out where to film Mad Max, he decided that Broken Hill and Silverton were perfect for their rugged landscapes and empty roads. Well, we're going even further than that, just near Cameron's Corner, where New South Wales, Queensland and South Australia meet. It's a long way to go, but today's guests, Bodie and Rachel Hill, are worth it. Not only are they both lovely people, but they also seem destined to wind up at Waka Station. I'll let Bodie explain.
Waka used to be Rachel's parents both sides, so it was originally a great-grandfather's took it up. So Waka come from the name of Walter and Catherine, so the first two initials. So, and that was 1927, I think, or early 1920s. They took that up, and that was sort of Rachel's mum's side, and then they actually sold it to Rachel's grandfather. So he did that through the 50s. Rachel's dad was born here, and then they sold Rachel's dad's oldest brother. He sort of ended up the place, and then he sold it in the 80s, I think, to another person, and then so we ended up sort of being it's sort of back in the family sort of thing, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was only sort of two owners that weren't some way linked to my family. Yeah, so it's really special for me to be able to live here and, be almost, you go down the rubbish dump and you see all these things and, you think, oh, that's a part of my history, and it's really cool.
So in terms of specifics, how much property do you have here?
130,000. It's just under 130, I think it's 129, such and such.
130,000 acres.
Yeah, close enough, 130,000. Yeah.
That's an immense amount of land.
Keeps us busy.
Yeah.
It's good. A lot of people come out here and say, how do you muster that? How do you sort of, 130,000 acres? Well, you sort of don't look at it as 130,000. If you muster in one paddock, most of our paddocks average about 5,000 acres. So you just concentrate on that and you just sort of break it down and, it's very fragile country out here. Like we're sort of semi-arid. So I think our average rainfall is about sort of 6 to 7 inches. So you get used to it being dry. So I think, you've got to look after it fairly well. So we try to spell country, and we don't have the numbers. We try to keep our numbers sort of relatively low. It's probably been a bit easier to do that with this season the way it's been. So I mean there is obviously things, but it's pretty easy country out here. I mean we don't need to treat for worms or drench or it's
get them in for shearing, layer marking, and we have noticed a bit of a change when we put our rams in, just getting the ewes together and putting the rams with them instead of, so 3 times mustering, I suppose.
Yeah. So, 3 times a year or maybe 3 times a year you sort of get them together. I mean, you're obviously looking at them. I fly a little gyrocopter, so that sort of makes it easier to monitor them. Water runs are fairly easy, so just driving around checking the waters and stuff like that. It's out here, I mean, it's probably not as intensive as it is, say, down inside there where, with lambing, you're checking them all the time, you're driving around checking. Unfortunately, out here, it's the only the tough survive sort of thing. They're fairly strong for here, like it's just tough country, I suppose, so they grow tough animals, so.
I'm glad you said it's tough country. It is tough country.
there's a certain beauty about it. I think this.
Yeah, you've definitely got to love it. And we both love it. We love just being in it. So it's not daunting being out on the motorbike and finding your way around. It's sort of, we love it. So
you get to know it, and I mean, people go to a big city or go to Melbourne or Adelaide and they live
we get lost there.
Yeah, they grow up there and they're just like, oh no, it's just down here, because every flat has a memory, every little, you can pick your way, you sort of know, and you pay attention. There's nothing else to distract you. There's no billboards, or there's no sort of
crazy
no
as
mobile
it is.
coverage.
Like there's trees in different paddocks where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that tree. It's just over that hill, and then to the right, and that's where the dam is. So. Yeah, once you've been in it and you view things from that perspective, it's quite easy.
So what is it you love about this place?
I don't know whether it's just the ruggedness. It amazes me that this country can be so dry, but yet there's still life. Just the animals and the plants that are still surviving.
You still have trees and shrubs like flowering, and it's so dry, but we go for a walk and there's little coolie bar trees like with new shoots on it, and you think, wow, and they're not big coolie bar trees, so their roots are getting some water from somewhere. Like, it's so fascinating. So
that it is so untouched. I mean, obviously there's been grazing, and there has been there, but other than the fences, the country hasn't, it's not ploughed, it's not cleared, or it's just how it has been. This is something very spiritual about it.
Definitely slows us down, when it can be so busy, or you've just finished giving kids tea and, you might be feeling tired or exhausted or had a big day or whatever, and you walk out to take something out to the wheelie bin and you see like the sun setting and you just go, it just helps put things into perspective. As soon as you can be out in nature, for me, it just helps me put things into perspective. We go for a walk with the boys. The state of mind even the boys get in from spending time with us and just walking around, and they find lizard tracks, they acknowledge the trees that are flowering or whatever. So can't wait to see their faces when the season changes and there's even more life around, or so yeah, it definitely helps us all. It even helps the boys go to school in a good frame of mind. So it's cool.
It's worth noting that school for Rachel and Bodie's kids is School of the Air, because they're currently the most remote students in New South Wales. The fascinating thing about them, though, is that they don't see it like that. They're the perfect example of how your attitude dictates your reality, how your perception is everything when it comes to viewing your surroundings. So there's certainly glass half full times, but I had to know how they were dealing with a serious and long-term drought in an already dry part of the world.
I try not to use the word drought. I like to change my mindset and sort of just that we're going through a tough season. It's been tough. There's no doubt about it. Like, I mean, yeah, there's still bills to pay. There's still sort of the worry about, well, we've still got sheep, but where does the income, like it's definitely tough. I mean, same as everyone has, but we try to be positive. I think, we really had to sort of question why we're here, so that's been a big thing for us to understand, that we have to love this place in the good seasons and the bad. If we just want to be here when it's good, then we're in the wrong part of the country to be like that. So it's been tough. We've had to really change our mindset. We've had to realise that we have to dig deep, that we actually also have a life outside of this place, which sounds weird when it is a 24/7 job, but
and we're so
put ourselves sort of first a little bit. We've actually been really selfish this year. We've actually found where by taking a step back and focusing on ourselves instead of 110% on the business, we've been able to get through it a lot more. We've taken up hobbies. We've probably travelled more this year. Well, I sort of realised I wasn't going through a great stage sort of last summer, 12 months ago, and realised that I didn't actually want to keep going that way. I didn't want my boys growing up resenting me because I was just a grumpy bastard, sort of, and it was tough. I mean, it still is, but I didn't want to be thinking that, I've got to work hard so that, I can pass on my boys if they want, and then realise that I'd push my boys away and they didn't want to be part of them. They thought, well, I don't want to turn out well, man. So we realised that we had to had to change because it could be quite easy that I wake up one morning and I'm 75, ready for retirement, and realise that I haven't actually lived my life. But I realised that I got so much more out of
enjoying moments,
enjoying life, and actually stopping and smelling the roses. We've forgotten how to switch off, and realising we're getting burnt out.
Like, I think that was hard for us to try and make that split between this is our business and we live in our business and we raised our kids in our business. And you know, we went and did a session with Jill Rigney, and that was just amazing to be able to think about the dynamics of what our business is, and making sure that, yeah, we can switch off, and we can even do it while we're at Waka now. We couldn't do that before. Like, to be able to be okay with just chilling out and just being here without having to feel like we had to achieve all the time, you know, because we love achieving. It fulfills us. But now we've realised we can achieve, but if we actually take that time to switch off, we're actually going to be more productive, and our kids are going to be more happier, and we're going to be happier, you know.
That's a huge attitude shift, and I don't want to pry, but this change came from some hard times, didn't it?
Depression's been a big part of my life, I suppose. It's always been in the family. I know Mum suffered with it when I was younger, and never really realised. So I don't want to say I suffered from depression, because I've actually found so many positives from having it. For me, I'm not saying it's the same for everyone, but it's changed my life having it. It's made me change the way I look at things. I feel like if I don't look at things positive, it just spirals out of control. So by going through that depression stage, it's given me the strength of mind to be able to look at things differently. I can have a dust off here and be enjoying it. I don't enjoy the cleanup, but we've had to find the positive in everything we do, because it's always right there. And being out here where it is such a tough country, I suppose, it's so easy to be negative.
Seeing Bode go through depression was it was hard, because when your team member's down, it's pretty significant, and it's such a big team effort, because if he's having a bad day, for some reason I can feel good and I can help him, and I have days where I'm just like feeling like crap, and being a girl I just cry more and Bode will, you know, come and make me think about it in a different way. And you know, I have to admit, since he's gone through depression, I find how he can support in our family with when people are having emotional problems. He's so good at explaining stuff and helping you get through it more, because he's been through it. And
it's quite a comfortable spot to be in there, because it's great, because you can bring everyone else down and you can just do whatever, and you can make yourself so much better. You don't have any problems because there's someone else's, and it's because of them that you're doing it. So
you know, if you're going to sit there and be in that self-pity wallowing stage for too long, everyone is in that stage. I get in that stage at least once a week. But if I stayed there, I give my power away to everything else, and I can't overcome it. So if I make the decision to stay in that state of mind and stay in that emotion, then I'm not going to be able to be any good for me or anyone else around me. So being able to not blame someone else for the situation I'm in allows me to sort of take control of it and not give that power away to that outside influence. So say, for instance, I'm not going to be happy until it rains, or I'm not going to be happy until such and such realizes how valuable I am. You know, no, you've got to realize how valuable you are, or you've got to be okay with the situation, because you can't control the rain. So don't give that outside thing a power to be able to make you happy.
I almost felt like I knew you before I met you because of your social media presence. What's behind that?
I used to waste a bit of time on social media, and I found I actually needed to. I was so grateful that I actually had this realization that it's not good for me. So for 2 years, I actually went off Facebook, didn't use it at all, and so we both sort of we weren't using it over 12 months. And it's funny how the dynamics of my life changed so much. I felt like I was disconnected from everybody. I felt like that I didn't know when things were happening, so I felt like I was missing out on stuff. And then all of a sudden, people started to realise that I wasn't on Facebook, so I'd get text messages sent to me letting me know that something was happening, or people would ring me, and so that was great. Loved it. And then we've been back on social media for a little bit now, and I feel that I use it in a totally different way now. I don't use it to say numb myself anymore. Like if I'm going on there, I'm going on because I've got to make sure I'm in the right frame of mind, and that I want like inspiration. If I do see cool things that people are doing, because my mindset's changed from a period of time, I feel like now when I see something cool someone's done, I'm just so proud of them, and I feel happy for them. I don't resent them because my life isn't like that, and I think that's come from me actually just being with myself and realizing that I love what I do and I love who I am. There's definitely things about me that, I don't love, but at the end of the day, this is me, and, I need to be me. Can't be anyone else. There's no point being anyone else. So with the social media, I think it's come about because I feel like I just want to help people to be able to be themselves and, not be so hard on themselves. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mine might be a bit more selfish, I suppose. I don't know. I sort of like it. It helps me by doing them.
Your videos, you mean?
Yeah, it helps doing the videos, because there's several times where I'll go back and listen to them later and sort of go, oh, that was a good point, and sort of congratulate myself for. I find when I do them, it's nearly like my subconscious thought, so it helps me later to go back and do them. And I think the very first one I did, that really hit a chord with a lot of people, because I was just talking about my experiences with depression and with the season and stuff, and it helped a lot of people. And I suppose I could see a lot of people that I knew were suffering and going through the same things, but didn't want to let on that they were suffering. So it was nearly a way that by doing that, people can comment and sort of say, oh, very good, I think, that helped me, or even without it, they didn't even comment, but that they understand that someone else is going through it. I knew people that were too tough to talk about it, didn't want to be shown as weak, and it's amazing after the response that I've gotten back, and it's been great to know that people sort of understand that they're not alone, that they actually
make you feel not alone as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I wasn't in a great place. They're sort of it wasn't looking great there for a while. The thoughts that were going through weren't sort of great thoughts to have. So hopefully that other people, and I have seen other people talking about their feelings, and I think that's awesome. And I think the more that people can do that is great, because it gets it off their chest. And then once it's out there, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I feel so much better. Mm-hmm. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's, yeah.
It sounds like you guys have spent heaps of time thinking and growing. So I'd love to hear about one of the lessons you've learned.
Never compare yourself to anybody else, and that we're all meant to be different. No one's meant to be the same. No business is the same. So even with the drought and that dynamic, it's important just to support each other. Don't try and understand someone else's business because it's completely different to yours, not to compare.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Listen, pay attention. There's still a very macho stigma, I suppose, that we don't want to show that weakness. Like, we should just know how to do that. You don't want to ask questions because it'll make you look like, what do you mean you don't know how to do that? Well, I don't, so show me, so, and I think once I realised that I didn't have the older brothers or the father figures or the grandfathers to show me how to do certain things. So, I had to sort of pick it up, but you only get that from closing your mouth and not saying you know how to do it and just asking. So I suppose that's the thing, be curious, get curious.
So that's the brain side of things. What about the bank side of things?
We had a criteria when we were, once we'd sold our wool and we had finances, we would go, okay, well, what are we going to budget for? And it was always whether it's going to save us money or make us money. There was no expenditure that was like, oh, but it'd be really nice to have that. I'd love a new shed, or I'd love that new sort of whatever. We were sort of lucky there that we got to a point the first couple of years that everything we put back into the place.
And we had good years too. We were lucky.
Yeah, we were lucky, yeah. And there was a couple of dry years in there. It wasn't all
true.
great.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we live in a desert, right?
Like,
But, I think that was the thing. So we put it back into there. We made smart decisions. when it was dry, we first bought it, we were carting water here to the house. As soon as we get some money, we're putting the house bore down. And when it rained, we didn't forget about it. We did that straight up. We put that, we've got a desal unit. So through here, we can run this house, we can drink the water if we
we
need to.
didn't need it.
Yeah, we put
knew
in when we
might
didn't need
again,
it.
You know.
We knew that it was going to be dry again. So I think it's easy when it rains to forget about it. And say, we don't need that stuff anymore. It's rained. We're never going to need it again. For us out here, look, it is going to be dry again. So, I think to make those decisions, and it was hard because, we had a couple of good seasons and we were building our numbers up and, wool prices were pretty good. So we were sort of lucky there, but we didn't go crazy. We went through those first 5 years and we put 120% with everything we did, redid the full wool shed. I did that all on my own. I was, middle of summer, was out there welding and doing all them sort of good fun things. And we did all that and put it back in there. So now when it is dry, we've been able to put, finances away because we've been sort of saving and stuff like that. So it's helped us to be able to now invest in ourselves. Don't lose sight of when it is all green and everything like that. And remember the mistakes you made or the mistakes that happened and
don't dwell on them, but just remember them.
Yeah. Don't look back because you're going forward, but sometimes it's all right to glance backwards. Yeah. Can't drive a car looking in the rear vision mirror, but it's good to glance in there sometimes. So.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Propagate, and thanks to Rachel and Bodie for taking the time out to chat so honestly. And a very special thanks to the wonderful people of Tibooburra who made sure that I didn't get lost on a dirt track a long way from a phone signal. As always, Propagate is brought to you by the good folks at the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries Young Farmer Business Program. And if you find yourself with some long drives ahead of you, why not download all the other episodes that are available? Your review would also be greatly appreciated. My name's Corey Haig. Thanks for listening.